Hey guys, thank you for joining me. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to spend a little bit of time on some preventative maintenance on my Mahindra 1635L shuttle shift with a bad boy grapple, root grapple, and a backhoe. There's quite a bit of greasing that has to be done on these two implements, so we'll just kind of go through it and give you guys an idea of what it normally takes. Did run into a couple of issues with some broken grease nipples, so we'll fix those as we go. But let's get started. So usually the best way to start is by just having the grapple on the ground like you guys see here, and this exposes most of the grease points. There are about 4 grease points that are currently not exposed, and I'll get to those at the end when I move the grapple and just lift up the front end loader slightly.
All right, I've got one that's broken, so we'll go ahead and replace that. All right, there's the broken portion in there. I just used a screw extractor to get that out. And now we'll get the new one in there.
So I've had some issues with the stock grease fittings that came with the grapple. They're just poorly made, low quality, and I believe they're made of brass. And what typically happens is they'll break off right where the threaded part ends, and the portion that hooks to the grease gun begins. And it seems like it's a weak point of these grease fittings.
That's fixed. Continue greasing. Of grease. And look at that, we just broke another grease fitting. It just snapped right off of there. Take a look at that.
So if you guys ever run into this problem, the best way to remove the portion that's broken off in the grapple or whatever you might be trying to grease up is to get yourselves a screw extractor kit like the one that I have here. It was pretty cheap. I want to say like $10 at Home Depot or Lowe's, and one of those will fit in there, and it's pretty easy to extract the broken portion back out. So as far as the grease goes, I normally buy my grease from Tractor Supply. This stuff is pretty cheap. I want to say about $2.50 for each cartridge. And I'm usually able to grease up the tractor at least 2 times, I would say, maybe a little bit more than that, 2.5 possibly, before I have to replace it. But this stuff seems to work just fine for what I typically do. I don't keep my tractor out in the weather, so it stays in the container when I'm not using it. So that definitely helps with minimizing any kind of damage. But yeah, this stuff works.
we just have 2 more to do.
Okay, so I've got all the other points greased up. I've got about 4 more here that still need grease, and the best way to do it is by elevating the front end loader and just kind of angling the grapple a little bit. And this should pretty much finish up the front end of the tractor, and next up we will focus on the backhoe. Okay, moving on to the backhoe now. This backhoe has quite a few grease points that have to be greased up, like I said, every 10 to 15 hours, especially if you guys are using it in some damp conditions. Most of the soil at this time of the year is pretty dry, so I'm probably pushing more the 15-hour mark before I grease everything. But yeah, pretty straightforward. All the grease points are easy to access with the backhoe in the position that you guys see it right now. The only 2 that I can't access are located at the bottom for the stabilizers. But that's not really a part that sees a whole lot of movement, so if I miss greasing that, not normally something I worry too much about.
Okay, that's it. Put the grease gun away.
So the last thing to do here before I get to working is to just fill it up. I used to have a small electric pump which would actually fit down into the fuel container here, but that thing broke, so I've just been using a small attachment at the front end of this container to fill up the tractor. It's not ideal. I do end up spilling a little bit, but it works, and it's better than trying to just remove the cap and attempting to pour it into the tank without a funnel, which I don't normally have when I go and work on the property. So that's pretty much going to cover this video. Thank you all for watching, and make sure to subscribe and watch my other videos on all the other things I do on the property.